think as a mother, I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son, about STEM and really about kind of the responsibility I feel to make sure that my daughter is prepared for the very best careers of the future. I think a lot about how I approach her with that information about the kind of experience she's getting at school and then, the other activities that she's doing. And so I think talkSTEM has an opportunity to educate parents in a way that they may not be educated at school, and help them to bring perspectives of STEM to their daughters, particularly in ways that might be inviting to their daughters. So one thing I think about, my daughter wants to be an actress. That's where we're focused right now. But you know what? She's pretty good at science and math. But as she's gotten into middle school, I've watched her get more anxiety around math. And so I will sit at the kitchen table with her and she will hold up a math worksheet and start crying and say, I can't do it. And I'm like, you haven't even looked at it closely. You don't even know if you can do it, but you think you can't do it. And that is really, something that I think middle school girls are dealing with, is that the society tells them you're not going to be smart enough to do this, or it's not cool enough to be smart enough to do this. And so you can already see that impact that it's having on her. But also, my daughter gets all kinds of mail from different places that want her to go to camp there. And one time we got a postcard that said, come to STEM camp. Well, that was not really that appealing to my daughter. She wants to go to a fun camp, and if she's having fun, and she learns about science, technology, engineering, and math, that's fantastic. But you're not going to attract her in that way. And so I think one of the things that talkSTEM can do is to help us parents really think about, how do we engage our daughters in a subject that is a little bit off-putting for some young girls. They love science and math until about 5th grade, and then they enter that crazy world of middle school and go, oh no, I'm too smart for that, or I'm too cool for that is probably more of what it is. How do we still get them excited about it? And so I hope that you're able to open up that conversation. We have 27,000 girls, so that means I've got 27,000 families who are trying to figure out, how do they make sure their daughters make good choices in education and career. The mission of our work is being communicated to the public. And so it was wonderful for talkSTEM to invite me to do that and to let me share kind of the work that we're doing with the bigger community. So, if there was one family that said, I think I probably need to get my daughter in Girl Scouts, or one family who said, this is really interesting, it makes me think about Girl Scouts in a different way, then it was a win-win for me for sure. But probably from a bigger perspective, I think it's so important today for women to make their voices heard. And I've been involved in a couple of different programs. I mean, when you think about op-eds that are written in the New York Times or the Washington Post or even online, the vast majority of them are written by men. That's just a fact. So one of the things that I've really given a lot of thought to is, how do we engage more women of all ages, of all careers, of all interests, to make their voices heard? Because we're a diverse country. We need to hear from all of the diversity in our country. And if 80% of all op-eds across the country are written by men, then we're not hearing from the voices of everyone in our country. And so I'm trying not only to accept invitations to write about what I care about, but also to push that out and actually try to, a little bit more aggressively, make sure that my voice is heard in the role, the very, kind of narrow role that I get to play. I get to play the role of a woman leader in our community. I get to play the role of someone who cares passionately about girls. I get to play the role of someone who cares passionately about girls in STEM. I get to play the role of a mom of a girl who is struggling with science and math. So from several different perspectives, I think there's value in what I have to say, and I would encourage any man or woman, every one of us has a perspective that is unique to us, and we should be writing about it or talking about it. It's the only way we learn. I get the email from talkSTEM, but periodically I actually go to the website and look. And then also I Google STEM and girls all the time, so I'm constantly getting access to op-eds or to articles about science and math. And I use them actually in communicating to my board, communicating to my members. So I think having access to those different perspectives is fantastic. I love reading the different perspectives. With 27,000 girls and that many adult family members, as well as 5,000 active volunteers, they're not going to hear me speak in just one way. I've got to come at it from a lot of different perspectives. And so I think having the diversity of blog posts is really helpful to me. I think what talkSTEM is doing about opening up the conversation is really unique. there are quite a few of us who are talking independently about STEM. There are some very smart people doing research on STEM, but some of that is intimidating. And so I think it's actually nice to have a conversation about STEM and to kind of pose it as a conversation, because that welcomes in moms, and it welcomes in lay people. It doesn't just say that this researcher needs to be in the conversation, or me as the CEO of Girl Scouts need to be in the conversation, but actually it says all of us need to be in the conversation in order to make a change in the way that we're raising our daughters.